Hello, everybody. Welcome to Echo Underground. I'm Shanique.
This is Mike.
And on this podcast, we talk about music, TV shows, and movies, and any other interesting topics. Today's episode is going to be about the new Netflix, documentary.
Mockumentary?
I don't know.
Whatever you want to call it.
American Vandal. Now, before we get this started, I want you guys to know that you can subscribe to us on iTunes and on YouTube. Now, if you don't have any of the podcasting apps or SoundCloud or Stitcher, almost everyone has a YouTube or can get to YouTube pretty easily. So you can also listen to us there at Echo Underground Podcast as well. Spell out. And then follow us on Twitter at Echo U Podcast. And we just want to know your opinions, good and bad. We've had some negative. We had one negative.
Yeah, don't worry about him. We're not here for him right now, so
we're not here for him. But
just let us know how you feel, though.
We take all comments constructively, no hate from us at least. And let's get into this episode. So,
I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. Moving on.
Side-eye to Michael over there. What I thought about American Vandal was that it was surprisingly good. Because the trailer looked dumb as shit. You know what I mean? It's basically, to give a little background, it's basically about this guy who gets expelled from school named Dylan Maxwell for drawing 27 dicks on
allegedly.
We didn't get there yet. 27 dicks on the faculty's cars. And they expel him because he's the obvious suspect. And they have some type of proof, but we'll get into that. And so this guy, who's I think a grade or two lower than him, because Dylan is a senior, his name is Peter, and he wants to make a documentary because he doesn't believe that Dylan actually did it. And then it goes through this whole cycle, and spoiler alert, you'll find out if he did it or not during this podcast. So I'll give this fake documentary a solid A. I think it was well done, and if it really was supposed to be a student film, he has a future in film. What about you? What do you think of American Vandal?
I'd also give it a solid A. If anyone's familiar with on YouTube with Jimmy Tatro and his YouTube videos, you can kind of see the character he plays in the show, because it's very, very similar. Except, he's taking more of a high school role this time, but if you know him, you'll definitely find a lot of familiar. His definitely comedy style is definitely shown on screen on Netflix. Which congratulations to him, by the way. He pretty much nailed this whole thing. I don't know if he's just an actor in it or if it's this is his production, but regardless, he did great. Very procedural in the way things went processed in the 10 episodes, I think it was.
No, it was 8. It was
8 episodes, yeah. And it was surprising because the topic is so corny, yet the whole process of moving the episodes forward and figuring out each different clue and each different suspect was so real. It was interesting. It's you want to take it seriously but at the same time you're this is a documentary about a high school kid who is getting tried for spray painting dicks on cars and slashing one teacher's tire and apparently disabling. It's a whole thing. We're gonna get into a lot of it, but yeah, it's a pretty solid mockumentary, documentary, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think we'll just stick to documentary, even though it's a parody. So anyway, ignoring Michael over there.
I got it though.
Whatever. So let's get into favorite characters. So, spoiler, if anyone's listening to this, I'm about to give away something. My favorite character is Christy, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
She's the smartest one in the entire film. What's great about the ending of the film is that they sort of tell you who probably did it, but they don't confirm because they don't want to repeat the mistakes with Dylan. Dylan, because he's actually innocent. He didn't do it, but because he's the class clown, they pick. And personally, the girl Christy was the one that allegedly did it, because I don't want to say confirmed did it, but since they couldn't prove it, she got away with it. And she ends up going to college, and she ends up, you know, moving on with her life. Because this prank was, all the suspects were like seniors, essentially. The main suspects were all seniors, so they couldn't like risk doing certain things. And Dylan, he doesn't really get a happy ending, but at least he's exonerated. They know he didn't do it, but he doesn't really get a happy ending. Christy's smart. She's overzealous, though. A little bit fake, but she's very cunning, and that's why I like her. She played innocent. She even stood up for Dylan, even though it was his fault, her fault, that he got into the mess he was in. And she made, like, Free Dylan t-shirts, and she's very like, oh, you couldn't believe it, it's this girl. And then you figure out at the end that it was her, allegedly. We're going to put allegedly. And she wouldn't do an interview with Peter until after she got her diploma, after her acceptance gone through. And it's very smart. And I respect smart characters. Second favorite is Dylan. Because even though he's dumb as shit. Like, if you want to look up the poster boy for just stupid ass person, he is that. He's not as dumb as I thought because he can edit his own video equipment. He can do certain things. But he doesn't apply himself. I think if he took the time to really apply himself, he'll be better off. But he doesn't do that. But I felt, oddly enough, I felt he was sympathetic. You know, I think he got labeled something. And so people just jumped on it and just assumed that he was it. And he's a classic example of don't judge a book by its cover. Essentially. Third favorite, I was torn between Sam and Peter, because on one hand I like Peter, but he was getting on my nerves on certain parts of this. He had no boundaries. He thought it was okay to do whatever he wants as long as it was for finding out the truth. And I'll get into that later. And then there was Sam, who, again, besides his weirdly stalkerish behavior with Gabby, he was pretty cool and pretty funny. And I like how smart he was and how he thought about finding out the answer to the problem. Your favorite characters?
Geez, mine really isn't that fleshed out. Like, I have mine focused down into like two groups, and mine is, I'm putting one group as Sam and Pete. Mostly because of Pete. Like, I think Pete did a pretty good job actually, like, you know, hosting the entire, well, not even, what would I call that? Hosting the narrating. Sure, narrating the documentary, whatever you want to call it. That's actually the guy moving the story forward. And so, in fact, he's essentially the reason this entire show exists, because he's making it on camera with, like, you know, just some equipment that he has. Because, like, just some little bit of backstory. I'm not gonna stick on this too long, but in some backstory, he works on like this TV show for the school for like morning announcements and what's lunch and all this other boring crap. Which is also the same show that Dylan works on, but Dylan only uses that TV show as a cover up for, you know, him editing his weird pranks with my second group, the Wayback Boys. Now, the Wayback Boys are like a teenage version of Jackass, pretty much. And I will go ahead and say a lot shittier version of them at that. Because it's made up of Dylan, Lucas, the other stoner guy, and Ganj. Like, I forgot, dude. I can't believe I'm forgetting the one other stoner guy. Like,
because he was funny.
He
was funny. I just can't remember his name.
Funny. I feel like I knew a guy who was just like him, so he struck a chord with me. But yeah, he was cool, and yeah, that's pretty much my favorite two groups. Because it feels a little weird for like a documentary to say who my favorite character is, only because like it's a show that's trying to explain something, but it's like it's more of a story. So and the show doesn't take itself very seriously at all. But it's like a part of me, like I found myself watching the part of the show, and it's like episode 5 or 6 when like some more clues are coming out. I was like starting to come up with my own little theories about who actually drew the dicks.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about the show. It's a stupid topic, but it draws you in. Like, me and him were watching it together, and we were like, okay, so who do you think did it? And then we had these lists. We had Alex at one point.
Yeah, Sarah Pearson and some other people.
Mackenzie. We even thought Christy.
Yeah.
We thought
We thought the rest of the Wayback Boys did it at one point. Like they all did it for some reason.
Yep, and then Dylan and all this stuff. Even one of the teachers. For one second, I thought it was Kraz because he seemed like the dumb person.
Oh man, he's another one of my favorites. I should have said him, but go ahead.
Yeah, he's a stupid teacher who tries to be cool and eventually get fired. But he was very good comic relief because oddly enough, by like the last few episodes, it got really serious all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. There was like no real jokes. It got really serious. And one of my favorite scenes in the whole 8 episodes is when Peter confronts Mackenzie. Whoever the girl that plays Mackenzie, Dylan's girlfriend in this, that was an amazing acting scene. Mm-hmm. And so what I really thought that was really good, the acting scene from her, where she was crying during the thing.
Yeah, her interview or whatever.
I actually agreed with her because Peter still has like maybe 2 to 3 years left of high school. Mm-hmm. All these seniors are just trying to graduate, and he was bringing them all down, not knowing if Dylan was really innocent or not. Mm-hmm. So I agree with her that like he kind of crossed some lines. I even agreed with Sarah, which I wish we could have seen the full scene more instead of hearing it from a distance.
Yeah.
But she was right too. Like he brought up a lot of things that didn't lead to anything. Like he could have left some stuff out and you wouldn't be confused. But I guess he wanted to show his whole investigation process. So he put everything on there, but he didn't think of how it was affecting people in his documentary. I think he saw a lot of them as like characters in a movie.
Yeah, he got sucked into like his little weird director role, investigative role, because there were some points where he just came off as, and granted I'm saying this as an insult, but it's technically like a really good compliment on his end because it's so relevant to him, but as like a private investigator. Mm-hmm. Because I think the one time where I realized that this guy is like Pete, like even though Sam was with him like assisting him with all this stuff, Pete was like the one doing a lot of the mastermind stuff, like figuring out the clues and how they connect. Like I figured out the one scene I realized this at was when the spray can incident thing happened, like at the party when they were tracking that down, seeing how the spray can leaves splatters when you gotta like reignite the spray inside of it. Well, not reignite, but there's a word for it. But yeah, like he tracked down with all the videos from Snapchat and all that kind of stuff, like the movement of the spray can throughout the whole thing. And the other part where like he did the whole timeline of the dick spraying incidents from when, I know we're kind of, I'm jumping all over the place, but it's like Dylan left this prank that he was doing at, you know what, screw it. Actually, I feel like I should talk about that scene, that whole section of the story itself. Because here's how Pete shows his prowess. Essentially, the Wayback Boys are trying to pull a prank on their neighbor, on Luke's neighbor, one of the members of the Wayback Boys, by phone calling him. Prank.
Poor old man Jensen.
Yeah, old man Jensen. I get it. Sure, he's a little on the weird side, but they used him as a target to like get some more views and subscribers on their YouTube channel, which was, I think, barely getting off the ground is an understatement. But like they're proud of their achievements for some reason, so you know what? Let them have it. It's hard out there on YouTube. I get it. But yeah, so he's pulling this prank off, and this is where not only Pete is doing an analysis of this timeline, but the school board, which is now has him under investigation for who did what they call about $100,000 in damages to 27 different cars. See, now that's weird to me, how that's possible. But like they did the math in it, and it was pretty impressive. Because there's a point in the story where Dylan, where they're supposing that he did it, lied and said he's going to go take a crap at some store, but he went to go see his girlfriend. And now this is how the timeline starts, because like everyone had a hard time tracking him down after he left the prank on Mr. Jensen. So there's 2 stories going on right here, where this is where it splits. One side is saying, Dylan went to Mackenzie. The other side is saying his girlfriend, because he lied about taking the shit. He just wanted to go see his girlfriend because he didn't want to be embarrassed. And the other side is them saying he went to the school to do a dick prank. And I know we didn't talk about this very much, but Dylan likes drawing dicks. So that's which is pretty much the prior reason number one why like they think, you know what, this is the guy. This is the guy that likes drawing dicks. He must have been the one to draw 27 dicks.
I thought the primary reason was Alex, Because Alex said he saw him draw it.
Yeah, no. I'm the primary reason they're thinking that he did it is because like he's a class clown and he draws dicks.
No, it's because Alex saw him.
Yeah, there's that, but everyone in school also thinks this guy. No one in the school likes to draw dicks more than Dylan. Is where I'm coming from. Like,
yeah, but
he's
like
off of reputation. This is what the show talks about a lot. Like his reputation versus the actual action. Like it's like saying, you know, a black guy go on trial for something that people always see black guys do on TV. Like, oh, he probably robbed this person or some shit. Like, oh, he's black and he must be the one. And like this guy he just likes drawing dicks, and all of a sudden 27 dicks appear on cars, and they're like, yeah, that guy right over there, he likes drawing dicks, so he must have been him.
That's kind of weird because I didn't see anyone accusing him until Alex named him. Because they had the simile, and no one said, oh, Dylan or anything. It wasn't until Alex named him, and then they were like, oh, yeah, he likes to draw dicks. It must be him.
Maybe.
I mean, that's how it was shown in the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Maybe I'm missing something there, but that's fine.
But I think it was the fact that Alex, who, yeah, he's a liar. He's a little bit of a liar. Because he's basically a nerd who, like, lies for attention.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him versus a guy who seems dumb as shit. And that actually reminds, like, even though we're calling him dumb, another scene that I really liked, but I felt horrible for Dylan, is when he gets freed, like, he gets to return back to school, and they watch American Vandal, because he sees it for the first time, and he sees what people call him behind his back. And I felt so bad for him, because that was just bad. I don't know what to say. And then he started, like, flipping out in the backyard of the party. And all I could say is, for me, I think Peter should have turned off the camera for that. It shouldn't have taken Dylan walking away. And that's when there were, like, a lot of moments like that. Like, that was a moment where I was like, one of the moments, at least in the story, where I was like, Peter, you don't know boundaries. Like, at the end of the day, you're not getting paid. These people are not getting paid. If they didn't willingly talk to you, you wouldn't have American Vandal. And it was uploaded on YouTube. So it became like this big thing. But one lighter topic I want to talk about. Nana's party. Would you go to Nana's party?
Now, no. As a grown-ass adult, no. Back then, probably still no.
First of all, Nana's party is basically this girl, her Nana dies, so they just throw a party at the house and fuck it up so bad. One of my favorite parts was the fact that they had a fashion show with Nana's clothes.
Yeah.
That was bad. The whole time I was thinking, like, poor Nana. Poor Nana. You roll over your grave. Your granddaughter was like, let's party. Shut.
You can give me a whole day to talk straight about all things that went wrong with Nana's party, and I still wouldn't be able to get completely finished with how
fucked up it was.
Fucked up that they did that house. I mean, I get it. It's like a perfect party spot. There's a pool. It's big. It can accommodate almost an entire class of students.
It did.
So, yeah, there was that. I think it was a good scene for the documentary too. Like, it was a good party. Definitely some. If anyone remembers, like Project X, it got like that big without going down the block and nothing like that. But it got that big. I felt bad that they're just like
Project X was kind of bigger because they ended up.
Yeah. I'm just saying without it going down the block. I'm just saying, like, it just to focus on the house. And another thing too is, like, I felt bad because, like, they were just breaking all her china. I was like,
I know, like, part of the fashion, the guy was voguing, and then he flipped his hair and then dropped her china.
Yeah.
And then they threw it in the pool too. I'm like, who does this?
Yeah.
I've been to a couple parties. I've never had a party where people broke the stuff in their house on purpose and they were cool with it. Because we saw the girl in the documentary who Nana that was, and she was perfectly fine that they broke all her stuff. Well,
she got to host one of the most, probably will be one of the most, like, famous parties of that school's history. So I think it's like, you got so much clout now that's like, who's gonna get mad at me? My dead Nana? Probably not. I know that sounds dark, but I'm using her logical. Like, she clearly didn't give a fuck. So it's like that.
What about her parents though?
I'm talking about from her perspective. Okay, clearly, her parent, I get that. Her parents have a right to be mad about that. But I'm talking about from her perspective because clearly she doesn't give a fuck.
I know, but like, wouldn't you be worried about your parents being like, you broke it? You did this?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would worry about that if I was me, but like, clearly she doesn't. Like, her priorities are like, this is gonna set me up for the rest of senior year.
Yeah. Like, another question I have is, like, how did Dylan graduate? He missed 7 weeks of senior year. And he was already a horrible student.
Yeah.
So did they just pass him just to get him out?
That might have been. It's still like something that, oh man. See, there's so many characters and sub stories in this documentary that we can't actually get into them all. Because I was gonna bring up Shapiro, and I'm like, so that sounds like something Shapiro would do. And
funny enough, I think Shapiro. I agree. Maybe Shapiro would pass him so she can get rid of him. But she was out of line on so many occasions. One where she's very manipulative. Like, she seems nice, but she low key like bitchy and stuff. And I didn't like her apology to Dylan. But considering how much of a dick he was to her, I get why she had that. But you're an adult and he's like a teenager. You got to be better than that. You know? She was like, I'm sorry, I blamed you, but I wasn't wrong. You're still a piece of shit. Essentially what her apology was. She's like, you're never going to be nothing. You're still a piece of shit. But hey, at least you enjoy the dicks in the car.
Sure.
That's basically her apology.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying she's right. She's completely wrong. You don't talk to a kid like that.
It was her logic too, which I'm not going to call it sound logic, but like she's the kind of person who look like she'll give you one of those backhanded compliments, like, "Oh, you look nice today, a lot better than you did yesterday." You know, it's like, what the fuck was that supposed to mean, bitch? It's like, you know, I had a hard time dealing with Shapiro because I feel like, you know, that's so much of a real character that they probably really exist out there in the world, you know. And on the point of her being manipulative, she definitely was, because she did everything in her power to like side with Alex on saying he targeted me. And there's the whole thing about, you know, I know we can't really take Kraz's you know, testimony.
He wasn't proved wrong.
Yeah, so right. He wasn't proven wrong. Yeah.
Take it.
Because well, see, it's the same thing with Christy, but like she wasn't like, you know, there was no solid proof that she did it, but the proof does point that she did it, but that she did it. Like, it's the same thing with Kraz though. But the same thing with Kraz, because like Kraz was like, she set up the whole thing about prom not, you know, happening and you know, getting the whole senior lunch thing taken away until we figure this out.
Yeah, and like another thing, there was an incident where she set up something for another student, and that was proven to be true. So she does have a history of doing things like this.
Right. Even though she has like this crazy popularity in the school about being like this golden-hearted, amazing teacher that everybody loves. She's like the perfect disguise.
She is basically the person who will call you a dumb bitch and smile while saying it. Yep. That's basically who she is.
Essentially what happened.
That's basically what happened. Like, when she low-key threatened Peter, I was like, ooh, you turned into the devil real quick.
Right.
Real quick. And then the teacher was funny, too. Rafferty, I did not like how he treated Christy, even though I get that she was annoying to him. I didn't like how he acted there. And he's essentially a hoe of the school, but I didn't have an issue with Rafferty at all. The coach for the football team, I didn't have an issue. That's the only thing I didn't like, was how he treated Christy. She shouldn't have. If she was a kicker, do you get in like defensive drills for kicker tryouts?
Because you're not going to be on a line anywhere. I mean, like, you can get hit, but like kickers getting tackled is like so rare in football, is stupid. Yeah, so
they hit her like.
Yeah, they took her at least a foot off the ground. I was like, yo, this girl might weigh 100 pounds. There's no reason for her to be getting tackled like that.
Yeah, that made no sense. And it's funny that she said she got on but said no. And I wouldn't either, because they probably just spend the whole season just beating on her. So I wouldn't mess with that. And then who else? Keen, he didn't have much. He wasn't much of a character. I feel like he was Shapiro's bitch during the entire story.
I can see that.
I don't feel like... Yes, he's the vice principal, and we saw the principal once, mind you. We saw Keen a lot, which was the vice principal, but we only actually saw the real principal like one time.
Yeah.
And Keen basically did everything Shapiro said. So once Kraz was talking that shit about Shapiro, and then that thing with his student too, I knew he was gonna get fired. I would have been very surprised if he kept his job.
Yeah, I mean,
but I like Kraz as a character, but not a teacher.
I agree. You shouldn't have called that girl hot and said, "I'm not gonna say that girl was hot," but oh my god. But yeah, I'm definitely not gonna say that. I'm like, that's not very convincing of a guy. Say, you know, that's like you know, you get an interview by the cops about whether or not you did a crime. I'm like, I'm not gonna say I did that crime, but I'm gonna say that shit. That's a lot of money someone might have gotten out of that. Like you're not really helping yourself. Like be on the defensive and don't give them anything to work with. He pretty much he should have bit his tongue, but didn't. He just kept talking.
Yeah, and like his logic was weird because he's basically what Dylan would grow up to be if he got past college. I feel like Dylan would grow up to be crass.
I'd imagine.
But he was like, "Oh, I thought you only put this on YouTube." I'm like, dude, don't your employer have a YouTube?
Right.
You still would have got fired anyway.
You don't have to have a YouTube. You just have access to the YouTube.
Exactly. Which, by the way, we're on YouTube. Self-plug.
No.
Self-plug. All right. But I found the teachers fascinating as characters. Shapiro, Kraz, and Rafferty. The kids were really good. Here's the thing. If I was one of those seniors, I would do the interview only if it didn't point to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he was like grilling them, like I said, Chris was the only smart one. She did it right. She made sure she had her shit together. Nothing will happen. And then when she was in the interview, she didn't even admit to doing it because she's like, I got a future.
Right.
Fuck your like documentary. Because he pointed fingers at everyone. He gave, even though he cleared Mackenzie, Dylan, and the Wayback Boys, everyone else could have still done it.
Yep.
That's basically it. He cleared the main people we kept seeing. And then everyone else in the 9 is... No, even the people in the 9 could have still done it. Even Ming, even though it's Ming, he still could have done it too.
Yeah.
Because Ming likes to drink.
Because the only person I think like in the entire in the main cast I believe that wasn't a suspect at some point because they even thought objectively they said Sam and Pete should do like a objective interview on each other saying objective research on each other saying for why they could be the suspects. So it was kind of interesting because like Alex was the only one who wasn't, even though we found out Alex is like a raging liar. He's a pathological liar or something like that.
Alex is actually free and clear. I forgot to mention Alex because they saw him on videotape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
So that's all. I guess.
And he's the key witness in the whole thing too. But like it's weird though. Like and I know it's just coincidence, but it's like damn, you chose Alex of all people to be innocent. And you find out this guy of all the characters I hated in this whole story. I thought it was going to be one of the adults, but when I think about it now, it's like it's definitely Alex Trimboli. This guy was just lying about how much he drank. All he wanted to do was be popular. Lying about this whole hand job incident with Sarah Pearson. We're not going to get into that. It's like I said, there's so many smaller stories going on, like Sam and Gabby, Sarah and Alex and Mackenzie and Dylan. It's just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not even naming all the characters off. But it was interesting to see, though. It's like the whole process was pretty cool.
Yeah, they actually did an investigative report on it. They investigated, they plotted it out, they actually solved the crime, they actually put the effort into it. But it's really crazy to me that, oddly enough, the most honest people were Dylan.
Until the end.
Well, yeah, until the end, but I don't really care about Shapiro shit. There was Dylan, the Wayback Boys never really lied.
Yeah, that's true too.
And then even Mackenzie, because she gave him an alibi, but she had the proof of the alibi and didn't use it. And I see why. You don't want, the courts to see your titties. I can see why.
Yeah, just.
But she didn't throw him on the bus and say, "Oh, he never was there."
Right.
Because funny enough, she could have said that, and then someone could have found the video, because it is online. So she did back him up, and she kept her story consistent. And she didn't even talk to Dylan about that. She was very, she backed him up on it. And I appreciate that. But I like that she apologized. But didn't, run back to Dylan, too. Because at the end of the day, I don't think they work long term. And she has issues, he has issues.
Yeah, they've broken up, 3 times, I believe, so.
3 or 4 times. And
right.
I think, I'm surprised. I don't get how they work. But oddly enough, when you saw them together, you can get how they work. I think it's like an opposite attracts thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why he's into her, but for a lot of times I couldn't see why she was into Dylan because he did a lot of stupid things to her. and then had to win her back. But I guess maybe it's the romantic gestures. Maybe it's the fact that he goes all out for her. Because girls like that. Girls like when a guy goes all out for them.
And one of the things they like pushing forward is the fact that Mackenzie used to be like this crazy smartass. He used to do great in school. Did all this good stuff.
Yeah, and then, her parents and stuff, so you lost her mind.
Right.
But I think she did so good in school that she had no problems graduating.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Because she got into her star university and Dylan didn't get into the university that she was going to go to. But at that point, it already came out that, she was entertaining. Even though, it's weird, they were technically broken up, but, considering, their pattern of coming back together, I guess they just assumed that you're not going to do anything stupid while we're on this little quote-unquote breakup, I don't know, high school logic is weird.
Well, here's my thing. I was telling Michael, yes, they were broken up. And I don't even feel like Dylan was innocent either each breakup.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's how they work. They break up, they do whatever they want, blah, 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 get back together. They just drawn to each other for some reason. And, Dylan's friends hate her. Well, I think the boys hate her according to Ganj. Is it Ganj?
Ganj, the girl, yeah, Ganj.
Yeah. The boys hate her according to her because she makes Dylan act whipped, according to them. And then the girl hates her because she thinks she's a fucking psycho. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how are you and the boys better than her? In a weird way. Because what they did to that old man sounds weird. And what they do to those little kids, baby farting, part 1, part 2.
Yeah, and dad pantsing, he's a pedophile.
Those are, serious things. They let that old man get robbed.
Pretty much.
That's not a good thing. So, I don't, they're not much better, but it's one of those things, people are always like that. They see other people's mistakes, but they don't really see theirs.
Right.
And they think that everyone thinks it's funny, but no one laughs with them. So that's why. But I guess Dylan was lucky. He had friends. Mm-hmm. And he had loyal friends, too. Even though, why did they go to prom without him? I do not know. That was the weird part.
Yeah, because he wasn't expelled at that point.
Yeah. But maybe he was like, y'all go let me. Because they did send him stuff, and when he went to the party, they welcomed him. Mm-hmm. And they knew you coming to the after party, so maybe it was one of those things.
Right.
But I loved everyone except Alex. I agree. I didn't like Alex. I hated Peter sometimes. But for the most part, he was okay. And I didn't have a problem. Sam or Gabby. Gabby was the nicest girl on the entire show.
Yeah.
She was the only one who really didn't do anything wrong. If I'm really thinking about it.
She's on the outside of this entire story, but she just her character only exists only for Sam's sake and the fact
to drive them around and shit. Yeah.
The fact that she got pulled into some kind of drama that they uncovered during the investigation that had nothing to do with the investigation. That's one of the points that happened in the story is that I think on 2 occasions, both with Sarah and with Gabby, just gossip got put out there for no reason because they're snooping around for clues to figure out who really put the dicks on the cars, and then they end up finding out on the iPad for Sarah that she was with I'm forgetting this kid's name. Is it
Brandon?
Some funny looking kid, right?
No, the fat kid, Pat.
Right.
His name is Pat something. I don't know his last name.
Yeah, she apparently hooked up with some funny looking kid, and now he's on a list, and that Gabby's boyfriend was allegedly cheating. So that, all those things had nothing really to do with
They could have kept that a secret,
right? Yeah, they published it on YouTube as part of their documentary, and they really shouldn't have. So it's people ended up getting hurt who were just collateral damage for the sake of the interview.
Honestly, everyone was collateral damage except for Peter, Sam.
Peter kind of was only because they went in on each other. For the objective, he jerks off to her.
But he didn't seem bothered by it.
He didn't seem bothered, but
Sam got pissed. I mean, yeah, but I'm just going off based on that.
Sure.
He didn't seem bothered, and he lost his friend for 2 seconds, and then Sam got over it. But I think Peter and Sam came out the cleanest. But Gabby found her boyfriend was an ass, and then Sarah. They put her business out there, even though people kind of knew. They kind of confirmed it.
Yeah.
Then there's Mackenzie, and then there's Dylan. The Wayback Boys. Nothing bad happened to them. They were collateral damage.
It is the entire time, but yeah, they're on the outside the investigation, really.
Yeah. So basically, everyone's collateral damage except the Wayback Boys. If I'm being honest, no one else got their feeling hurts because even Peter got in his feelings a little bit.
Yeah, even the teachers as well.
Yeah, but they were the only ones who were safe.
Right.
And as much collateral damage as they have, how much good did the documentary do? Probably none. I mean, it cleared Dylan.
Yeah, right. It did its purpose, right? Yeah.
But now Dylan ain't got no future.
Yeah, not the happiest note for it to end on, but yeah, I mean, what I took away from it was that like Pete was so good at what he did that he actually accomplished his goal and got him innocent. Now everything after that point was that went wrong was essentially Dylan's. So
yeah, I think he couldn't face the truth of what people thought about him.
Yeah. And
so he said, "Oh, everyone thinks I'm a piece of shit. I'm gonna wreck my life even more."
Right. I'm just confirm what y'all already think of me anyway, since that's that opinion clearly isn't gonna change.
And then everyone else moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't have did the documentary. I'll watch it, but you're not putting me in it.
Yeah. I think there was a girl who got blurred out. And I think she had the right idea. Her and Christy had the right ideas. Either do it after the fact and post, or get blurred out the entire time. Like, don't put my face or my name, nothing. I want to be associated in any way.
Oh yeah, the mystery caller.
Mm-hmm.
We never found out who that was, right?
Who does the video? The picture of the office, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we did. That's a good question.
Mystery left open. We left the mystery caller, and then we didn't
confirm whether or not Christy did it.
Yeah, it probably was her though. I feel like it probably.
And what was his name? Vandal or Delory?
You trying to remember last name? Van.
Yeah, it's Delory or something like that.
Now here's another thing. Van and Dylan. Here's my issue with the theory that Alex saw Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that goes back to my point. Alex blames. This is where your theory about the fact that because he drew dicks, he got blamed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's why Alex blamed him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get how Alex automatically assumed it was Dylan, because even though they were trying to tell me that Dylan and Van had the same build, no, they did not.
I think from a distance you could probably. I think so. I don't know the actual distance that Alex was.
No, but they said
but I think
that
from
Alex
a distance I could probably
saw
see
them in the parking lot, so he couldn't have been that far. He said he saw them from the first car, and then go all the way through the road, and then came back.
I think
that's what he said. He described it as like, he started from here, and then that's another thing.
Yes.
If he said he started from if he said he started from Shapiro car, he's lying.
Right.
That's another thing that's wrong, because
she never had the splatter.
That's true, and it started from Rafferty's car.
Right.
So it didn't go in the order that Alex said. So that was the first lie. But he said it started. He saw him go from the first row, spray everyone, dip. Then went to the next one, sprayed everything. And then he ran out to tell the teachers. So my thing, as a teacher, I was like, so you watched him spray all our cars?
That too.
He literally just watched them spray all the cars.
Unnoticed, because I feel like if you're there that long, I don't know. I'm gonna just put myself in the criminal shoe real quick. If I'm doing something that takes down 27 cars and spray paint to do, I'm gonna be checking my surroundings the entire time. So it's like, how would I first of all not see Alex if I'm the the perpetrator? And as Alex, like, why would I just be there, like you said, just staring? Because like the cameras pick him up like hauling ass down the hallway. But how long were you staring? Like, you stared for like a decent amount of time. My eyes are bad. I don't know about Alex, but my eyes are bad. I probably have like a maybe 20-foot range of visibility before things start blurring out. So for me, if I was on the edge of the parking lot, I could probably say, all right, maybe they're similar. But like, as Alex, I don't know. He's such a pathological liar. I think he just went for the easy, like low hanging fruit to say, oh well, it's a dick and some guy spray painting. It must be the class clown who likes drawing dicks.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my thing. If he was wearing a hood and he saw a face, right, which I'm pretty sure he didn't. No way he saw a face. Because if he saw part of a face and be like, yep, Dylan Maxwell, Van and Dylan don't look nothing alike. They have different hair color, different face. Well, so I don't think he actually saw a face. I think he saw a hoodie painting dicks and said that was definitely Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he saw a face. There's no way he could have saw a face and said that was Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, granted, yeah, I mean, it's true. 'Cause we kind of the show leaves us going off of a lot of conjecture, since like the camera equipment, you know, someone hacked into the camera system and like deleted the time from when this whole thing took place, which.
Another thing that bothered me this whole movie: why the hell do the students have access to the school's security system?
Yeah,
that made no sense.
Like, I get it, like having the control of the TV show and all that, but it's kind of weird that they have like security access. That's just
that would never happen.
They should have brought that up in the court, in the proceedings at the school board or whatever it was, because like maybe we're mad at the wrong people here. Maybe we should revamp our security, because like if this was like a terrorist incident, we got like no evidence that it happened.
Yeah, like,
so you know it's kind of dumb. That's just me though.
Yeah, and like I don't know who that black guy is, because I think he's just a teacher. He shouldn't even have access to the security system.
Yeah.
It really should be the security and then like the principal or vice principal. It shouldn't be anyone lower than that who has access. Not even a janitor should have access to it. So it's very weird that 9 students, because they work on a TV show, have access to the servers of the school. Mm-hmm. They could change their grade. They can do a lot of things from there. So that was a little weird, but I was like, nah, we're just gonna go with it.
Yeah. See, it's like we said, watching the show makes you overthink a lot. So
simple story, but it gets you think.
Even us jumping into this whole camera security incident never gets addressed in the show, but it'll make you think though. Like, it's so dumb. Like, hey, did you see that documentary on the dicks? And then like I can make a conversation about analyzing each and every one of the clues in the show. Like, it sounds. I get it. It's a documentary about dicks. At the end of the
drawing dicks, not actual
drawing dicks. Sure,
fake dicks. Let's put that out there.
There's only one documentary on Netflix about dicks, or drawing dicks, as Shanique will say. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll even let that be my concluding remarks on this show. To be honest, it's a nice show that makes you overthink, and I think everyone played a really, really good part.
Yeah, and my closing remarks is that you're gonna find yourself trying to figure out who vandalized those cars.
You know, well,
go for it.
We kind of just told you, but you know, just in case you didn't. Hopefully you listened to the warning at the beginning.
No, I'm going to put in the title spoiler.
Okay.
So if you see the spoiler in the title and you hear us say spoiler throughout this interview, this whole review, and you still get mad at us, then I can't help you. I can't help you. We warned you. And I think if people who've been following us know for long, we only do spoiler reviews anyway.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind me, I think even knowing what you know, I think watching it, you're still going to be like, have questions. And because they don't confirm Christy, you might still doubt it. Mm-hmm. So you never know. They don't actually answer who truly does it. They leave it open, but they kind of imply it.
Right. They strongly imply it. And especially her character, like, she just kind of storms off when like they get too deep into like the whole, why did you accuse the coach on this day?
Yep, she kept it quiet.
Right.
She was like, "No, about my education, about to get
my
life on."
She'll make a great villain in some other TV show one day, because she knows how to not stitch on herself, and she covered all her tracks. Yeah. So right now, all they can do is suspect, and they closed the case out anyway, so they don't really even give a shit. Cause after they realized Dylan was innocent, they never really decided to follow up and look for who actually did it.
That's true.
They sort of just left it alone. But I don't know. Pete's documentary investigation sort of can offer something in that direction, even though they're already graduated. But it can only go so far now that like 90% of everyone involved is like off to college or getting jobs or whatever.
And there's no proof that she was near the building.
Right.
She has a solid alibi.
No proof whatsoever. I mean, the only thing that she doesn't really have right now is the whole CPR thing at the very end, but that doesn't prove anything about her being involved with the whole
because she could have easily been there, and then her boyfriend, since was her instructor,
right?
She
can vouch and say, yeah, she was here.
I just didn't teach her shit.
Right, pretty much. Right, I just handed her a certificate saying that she can save someone's life, and then by the time that time came around to save Ming's life, she sort of asked who can do CPR. So whatever. Hey, I'm glad Ming's here.
Yeah, we love Ming. He's awesome.
Yeah, we love Ming here. Echo on the round. Team Ming.
All right, but I recommend watching it and watching it again. It's really interesting. Good acting, very good script. You're engaged in a stupid story, but it's a parody that's well written. That's what I give it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good parody. And so we're gonna close out this episode. Do you want to tell them where they can find us?
Nah, I can do that.
Such a lazy ass person. Anyway, you can send us emails of suggestions, of comments, of anything like that at echoundergroundpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and leave comments or like our posts at Echo U Podcast. You could, subscribe to us on iTunes, on YouTube. Both of them are Echo Underground Podcast. And then you can also follow us on Facebook. And you can like us and also leave comments on all the sites I just mentioned. And we're also on a lot of, I think probably all, if not all, 90% of podcasting apps, including, Castbox if you're an Android user. And I think we're also on, you can find us on the podcast for like Apple Music, I think. I forgot what the Apple thing is called, but we're there. We're there, and you can subscribe to us there, and also leave comments there. We do read it. And on our main website at Podbean, which all of those are under Echo Underground Podcast. So we're pretty easy to find. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See ya.
Bye.